Hey everybody, hope y'all are doing alright. So, it's I don't know, some people, a lot of people on YouTube or social media, I mean, I only really check out YouTube, I don't really fuck with anything else. But on YouTube, there seems to be a lot of repetitive information regarding the situation that's going on. A lot of people are talking about gas prices going up. A lot of people have been talking about, the gas has been the thing that I've seen recently that's been mentioned on, multiple places. A lot of people are talking about it. There's the food, problem we have going on. We have the hyperinflation. That's an issue. And by the way, again, just to share with you guys again, I know I've already done this, but hyperinflation. So this hyperinflation has been caused by, it's caused by government budget deficits financed by currency creation. Deficit spending within the budgetary process. Deficit spending is the amount by which spending exceeds revenue over a particular period of time. So basically what that's saying to me in layman's terms, to reiterate it to you guys, is that we don't know how to handle our money. The people that we've put in charge of handling our money are not handling it well. And I don't think it's by accident. I don't think it's because they're irresponsible. I think it's because they have an agenda to create chaos, more chaos. If y'all look into the New World Order agenda, if y'all know about spirituality, about evilness, about wickedness, it's, they can gain, they want our energy. It's really an energy game when it comes down to it, beyond the money, beyond the, being able to control people and get them to do these things. I mean, that's part of it, but they, in my opinion, literally harvest energy from conflicts. This is why, it's just a number of reasons why they push wars, the military-industrial complex, why there's so much entertainment that is just dark and, based in trying to scare you, trying to make you angry, or trying to perpetuate killing people. I mean, this is all stuff done by design. And they know that what you put into your mind, what you put into your body, has an effect on your cells. So the more they keep pushing all this shit, because to me it's shit, the more they're turning us all into shit. And the more we pay attention to it, the more like shit we become. But I don't get, I mean, I guess I do get, I'm just very frustrated why there's so much talk of the problem here. There's so much talk of God, and then that's, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, there's a lot of Christian YouTube channels that I look into, and they spend a lot of time just reiterating verses, just, holding sermons, just, essentially just saying the same thing kind of over and over again, but there's nothing being spoken on the solution. Like, a lot of people are waiting on the rapture to come and just take us all away. But, I mean, what about the Great Commission? What about taking care of the poor, the needy, exposing evil, following the word? Like, what does it say? Does it really feel like you're following God's will when you're continuing to support and perpetuate a society that is corrupt? Why wouldn't we just stop doing that? Why not try to do something different? Why not pay attention to a different fucking strategy or a different solution, or a solution, or experiment with a solution, rather than just doing the same shit over and over again and essentially just speaking out all this negativity instead of actually doing something about it? That's just what I see a lot of, is people just continuing to talk about the conspiracies, people continuing to talk about the problems, people continuing to complain, essentially, is what it all is. And then you have the Christians that are just sitting back and just waiting to be beamed up to heaven. And, meanwhile, there's just all this chaos and strife and horrible fucking things, atrocities going on all over the world all the time. And the Christians, us Christians, people, I mean, calling myself that feels, I mean, I'm a follower of the word of Yahushua, but, everybody's got a different way about going to do that. And I'm just not the type of dude that can just sit back and watch humanity crumble. when I know there's solutions to this problem. There's a solution to every single problem. That's what bothers me, is nobody's wanting to really think about the solutions to this, when it's really quite simple. We have to first acknowledge we have a corrupt government and start moving away, detaching away from this corrupt government. Stop giving them our power, stop giving them our attention, stop relying on their infrastructure, develop our own infrastructure. We have all the tools, we have all, the hemp plant can do all these things. I've shared that with you guys on multiple different occasions. The information's been out there for a while. Back in 1939, Henry Ford made a car out of hemp, literally. And I mean, so this shit's been around. People know about this. These people in charge know how to cure cancer. They know how to cure sicknesses. They know all these things. They choose not to share this information with us because that would threaten their pharmaceutical power. That would threaten the spells that they've cast on all these people. Because these herbs, done in the right way, with the right type of healing rituals, will break a lot of toxic spells, will heal the body and the spirit and the mind. And these are things they don't want. So it's ridiculous. It's very frustrating to me as to why, especially people with influence and power and money. It's like y'alls are the ones with the actual physical tools to like do something different, but because people are so locked into their own way of thinking, their own perceptions, their own little routines, and they're not wanting to open up and try to work with other people and experiment and go through trial and errors to figure out what works. Because it's like, I mean, Thomas Edison, like, there's a lot you can say about him, but one thing I do like about him and, his character and what he did is he kept on working on a way to make the light bulb work. And he found, and one of the famous quote is what he found, 1,000 ways it didn't work, and then he finally found the one way it did work. But he had to go through that trial and error. He had to go through that fucking challenge, the conflict, the drudgery, the failures, back to back failures, and continue to persevere, to continue to look for the solution. And he found one, even though it's, these light, there's a lot of shit you can say about our lighting fixtures and electricity and all of that. But the point is that he kept on trying. Just because he failed doesn't mean he gave up and was like, oh, okay, that's not going to work. He's like, no, there's something in him that was like, yeah, there is a solution to this problem. There's a way out of this. There's plenty of money here in America. There's plenty of wealth. If you look into hyperinflation, it essentially the money, our dollar is going to go down in value. It's already probably started to, but that's what seems to happen. That seems to be the common trend with hyperinflation and things of this nature is, as things progress, the value of the dollar goes down and people's assets goes down. Houses aren't as valuable, and things can become more expensive. So not only do, your dollar isn't worth as much, but things are also more expensive. So it's a double whammy. It's a double negative. Like not only do we not get as much for the dollar, but we also have to pay more for a loaf of bread than we would. And now with the money that we have, it's now not even worth what it used to be. So, I mean, there's so many signs that are saying that this is a flawed, this is a wicked, system that's designed to fail. That's what it is. It's designed to fail. That's what they're leading us in, but they got to portray it in a certain way. They got to play it out like it's really happening and like it's just life and it's just stuff just happens and we just got to go along with it and listen to this news story and follow this fucking conspiracy theory and look towards this entertainment and pay attention to this. And I mean, they have to play it a certain way, otherwise it won't be, otherwise people will see how wicked they really are and they'll really wake up. But if they can keep us engaged enough to, into this routine that we have and addicted enough to this infrastructure and dependent enough on this way of living, then we'll go along with it. Especially if we've got all these distractions and especially if right now we're sitting comfortable. So it's like, okay, well, right now nothing's really happening to us, but that doesn't mean in a year or 6 months or 2 years that serious shit's going to happen to us. And people with a lot of money are not going to have a lot of money anymore. It's not going to be worth much at all. So it's like now, every day things are getting worse. Every day your dollar's losing its value. Every day we're paying more attention to perpetuating an evil fucking government that has our demise in its sights. That's what its goal is to see our humanity's demise, to see, God, to see love, to see all those things diminish and be destroyed. That's what I feel that their agenda is. But again, in order for them to be really successful in this, they have to put on the show that they are here to help serve us, that they are an actual government, that they actually have things like the World Health Organization. Now we're hearing about how, other nations are joining, and how they're starting to implement ideas on how to implement a whole, global fucking restrictions on, taking away sovereignty. It's killing the cultures of the whole planet, essentially, is by bringing us all together under their new world order. They're going to be stripping away the authentic fucking cultures that have existed for thousands of years, for millennia. And again, people just sit back, and it's like we're at a point where I think most people are very well aware of how corrupt this government is, but they still just continue to do their own thing, or they're still just continuing to try to prep and save their own little skin and not worry about everybody else. And it's just sad, because there's so many of us here, and there's so much wealth here in America, and it wouldn't be very difficult. I mean, the difficulty lies in the perception. It lies in our ability to work together, to get over our petty differences, and to find a common ground where we can all, detach from this and create something different. And we do need leaders. We do need people of influence and power and resources to help lead the way in this and be a good example for other humans, because clearly human beings are very susceptible to the influences around them. So we have all these leaders here that are leading us in these fucked up ways. So now is a time more than ever, I think, that we need leaders that are helping lead us in good ways, but actually taking action, not just speaking about it, giving people a different place to live, giving them different jobs to perform, giving them a different energy system to be dependent on, giving them different things to do with their life. Soul, like we've lost a lot of our soul energy because we continue to work jobs and perform things that we don't really enjoy and that are not really good for the environment. That's not good and conducive for one's good soul growth. That's diminishing one's soul power. When you do something that you don't like to do, especially when you don't have to do it, because there are always options. Nobody's forcing anybody to live in this world right now, in this society, the way that it's constructed. Nobody's forcing anybody. It's all choice. We're all choosing to pay attention. We're all choosing to play along in this game. And that's what they want us to do. So it's just, I'm still trying to, get this work done on developing a whole infrastructure for humanity and developing a business idea. But I still got my own spiritual struggle that, I call it a struggle because right now I do feel like I'm struggling a little bit, but it is what it is. There's a time and place for everything. But it's just frustrating for me to see, just all these different people just talking about stuff and just complaining about things instead of trying to come up with solutions. Like, we should have whole fucking YouTube channels and platforms just dedicated to people just like solutions. Let's brainstorm, humanity. Let's brainstorm. Are we not smart enough to figure this shit out? Like, it's so clearly evident how corrupt things are. It's ridiculous. And yet we all just sit around and continue to complain about it instead of actually trying to do something about it. I mean, what do you do when you know your government, the people that you pay your taxes to and dependent on to make big changes in your life that affect your city? What do you do when you know that these people do not have your best interests at heart? Like, what do you do, really? And then what else do you do when you know that the way that they get these decisions passed is through their money? Their vast amounts of money that we cannot even begin to compete with because they've already fucking monopolized all these industries and gotten patents on all these good technologies. So there's no way to fight them in their own game. That's part of the problem, I think, is people's ego. They don't want to accept that we've allowed this corruption to get to such a high level to where we've lost our ability to really have any type of a real say in the way things are done here. People don't want to admit that. I think it's their ego. They want to continue to be Americans and think that we're this beautiful country that's super awesome and great. And in fact, it's the opposite. We're not. I've talked to many different veterans who've told me how fucked up the military is. They tell me literally, don't join. Like, these are good. When I see them, they're very good-hearted people. Like, they're telling me the truth. These look like good warriors that would fight for righteous causes. And they're telling me that what they've seen, what they've witnessed, what they've experienced is not good. So it's all over the place, and it's just, it drives me nuts to see, people continuing to talk about these gas price problems when there's so many different alternatives to fuel. There's so many different ways you can make gasoline or fuel, whatever you want to call it. There's non-combustible technologies that are existent, that have been known about for a long time, that we can implement and start using to fucking transform this reality into a different one, to help get people away from this dependency into a good dependency. But again, people aren't wanting to talk about it. We're going to have to learn to work together. We're going to have to learn to network. We're going to have to learn to brainstorm. We're going to have to learn to try things and fail and be okay with it and just pick up our feet and move on. We have to ask for guidance from God. You got to ask for help. You got to give him praise. You got to follow his word. Like, part of the word is helping out the poor, the sick, the needy, and exposing evil. And in my opinion, not following along with an evil society. Like, I don't think God wants us to fucking continue living and working in America the way that we have been when it's clear that its motivations are evil. But yet, so many of us continue to do it because we feel like there's no other way, or we're not, it's all in God's hands. And it's like, that's another problem that I see with a lot of just religious organizations, is they put all the power into Jesus or into God, which isn't all bad, but they forget how much power that they have themselves. Like, we're supposed to be like Jesus. Okay? Jesus didn't go along with the normal way of doing things. He went against the tax collectors. He found out ways to help people get food that was, away from the common way of getting food. He taught people how to fucking grow their spirituality. He taught people how to live detached away from this evil society. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what we're supposed to be coming together in these type of groups and these type of, tribes, whatever you want to call them, and working on things like that, working on being more like him, using the fucking herbs and the earth and the things and the lessons that are here for us to learn from for good. And not just talking about them, but actually applying them into action. Getting over our fears, getting over our selfish fucking desires and our greedy fucking needs. We all got to get over shit. We all got things to learn from. We all got things to work on. I'm not saying we all got to be perfect. We all just got to start brainstorming and working together. It's just, I don't know, I guess I'm especially frustrated because I know how versatile and how miraculous the hemp plant is, and it's still not being utilized. I mean, it literally can cure cancer. It literally can solve the fucking oil problem. It can solve the pollution problem. All of these things can be solved with the hemp plant, but we also have to work on humanity's greed, because with the hemp plant and all of its uses and utilities and abilities, there's going to become a desire to want to exploit that. So not only do we need to use the hemp plant, but we also got to follow the word and not be greedy with it and not seek profits and not seek more than we need, but it's really a love of money that's the root of all these evils. Like, addicts aren't the problem. All these guns that are being shot up all around the world, all these, schools and stuff, it's a result of what has happened in America, but it's not what's the core root of the problem. There's a root problem that's causing all of this pain, all of this evilness, all this horribleness in all the world. And in my opinion, it is a love of money. It's doing things out of soul. It's doing things out of alignment with love. It's doing things out of alignment with Mother Nature and the harmonious life for all. These are the results that are come from doing that. So it's like, now that we see what happens when we put our attention into things like this, why are we continuing to do this? Why aren't we taking more steps to move away? Why are we continuing to give these politicians our energy and our power and our currencies? Well, we can easily just fucking detach and build our own stuff. Why aren't people with bigger social platforms trying to brainstorm and trying to develop ways and teams to network with other people and give humanity and others with less a place to live, a place to work that isn't in cahoots with this satanic system? It just seems like simple shit, like simple jobs, like gardening, like building vertical farm growing systems, like simple stuff that we can all start working on that will, at the end, that will help out the unemployment. It'll help out the supply chain problem. It'll help out with healing, because working with the earth is a very healing, it's healing in itself. Just doing landscaping around nature, doing things like that will help heal the body, will help give the body a good purpose in life instead of working at McDonald's. Simple stuff. That's really simple solutions to a complex problem. The problem is not even really complex either, though. It's a love of money. And now we're living in a society where it's the more money you have gives you more power. So it's, it's just frustrating. So I just wanted to get on here and do a little bit of a rant. I am going to be trying to, like the janitor thing. I mean, it was, I don't know, like, I need to make pizzas, man. Like, I think that's, a lot of it was the social, like I was wanting to steer away from having to socialize with people, but that really isn't good for me. I need to be more social. I need to spend more time with other people. It's not, I've spent so much time on my own. I don't think that's good for me anymore, you know. So I've changed my mind. I've decided to try to get a job in the pizza industry. It will also get me more money, and I do enjoy making pizzas. You know, to me, it's like artwork. So I don't mind doing it. I've already sent an application. We'll see what happens, and I'm going to continue. Again, trying to develop a business idea to help implement this infrastructure. Another part of me also wants to try, and I mean, I've tried writing so many different scripts in my life, like movie scripts and novels too. So a part of me has been feeling like, you know, I could just use my imagination and my creative abilities, which we all have, and try to develop, you know, a good movie, you know, with a good theme, a good purpose, where I could share all the information, all my passion for what I think is good for humanity, and just my two pieces to the puzzle, and, you know, try to make some money from that. And with the money that I make from that, I could get land and you know, essentially be my own investor for this type of business. But I don't know, you know, part of me feels like, you know, I should just try to stick to the business plan and network with people, and not go into, you know, that the super creative mode, or maybe I can do both at the same time. I don't know, but the more things you work on that are creative and that are from the heart and that are imagination and that are aligned with God's will, the better off we all can be. So I can still work on a movie idea, and I can still work on the business idea, and the more you work on them both, the more you're going to get better at creating both. And then while working a job, and continuing to just speak forth this information and just say how ridiculous it is that we all just sit around and watch, you know, these people fucking usher in this insanity, and just people not wanting to do anything about it. That's the insane part to me, is just like, we know how corrupt things are, and the solution is very simple, but it's again, it's people's perceptions, it's people's egos, it's people's, you know, unwillingness to take risk that's holding us back, which is love, you know. And fear is the opposite of faith. So if fear is keeping you from fucking doing what needs to be done, just, you know, you're not living in God's will, you know. And I myself am, you know, not the best at that either, so I'm not trying to say that I'm anything above anybody else, but I know that we can at least all, you know, acknowledge our faults, and also we can make progress, you know. There's nothing wrong with being like, okay, I've got these fears, but I know that we have to do something. I know that having these fears isn't good. It's not what God wants me to do. So why not try to push through these fears? Why not try to push through these perceptual barriers and these walls that we've built up and put up, and try to figure out a solution, try to figure out a better reality for everybody, try to help take care of the kids, try to help take care of the, you know, the sicknesses and the diseases and all and the earth and the animals and all these things that have been suffering because of humanity. You know, and learn the lesson here, because this is a very large lesson for us all to learn collectively. And to just sit back and watch everything burn to the ground does not seem like the right thing to do in my eyes. So, anyways, all right, I love y'all. I hope you have a good day, all right? Bye.